Hi, welcome to Sisterhood Sessions.
Join us on the couch every Thursday to talk about love, dating, happiness, and everything in between
From a Gen Z
and a millennial perspective.
We are your intimate sisters, and we're all about entertaining, motivating, and inspiring you.
Now let's get into it. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Today we wanted to talk about love. Love.
I don't know.
This is our music.
Today's episode is a musical version. No, I'm just kidding. We wouldn't do that to you.
No, her voice sounds nice. I will make your ears bleed. We're not doing that.
Okay. Anyway, so last week's episode was all about vulnerability, and so we thought we'd get a little bit vulnerable with you all this week. So our format's a little bit different.
Yeah.
We're going to be asking each other questions today. Let's see what comes up.
Yeah, so in the whole realm of love, I feel like a good one to kind of start with is, do you believe love is a feeling or a choice?
Oh, that's a tough one to answer. I think if you fall in love with somebody, you have the initial infatuation stage, which is hormonal. Mm-hmm. Once you get past that phase, that's when your real relationship actually starts. And I think after you've been together for a number of years, then it becomes a choice.
Yeah.
Because that initial infatuation phase is over, your honeymoon phase is over, your first couple of years of being together and feeling that love and that new love is over. And, they call it a 7-year itch, where like you get to a point in your relationship where you're like, things start to come up. Like maybe you're not as like sexually attracted to your partner as before, or you've got a ton going on career-wise, or you've had kids. And like at that point, that's when you have to actively choose not to be in love, but to work on your relationship. Mm-hmm. Like intentionally go on dates, intentionally make sure you have time together as a couple, intentionally plan romantic things that you're going together, intentionally plan like your sexual encounters, honestly, because they can fall by the wayside. Schedule them.
Well, especially if you've been with each other like that long and you do have like, kids in the picture and whatnot. It can't be as spontaneous.
No, you can't.
I agree with that. Yeah, you can definitely feel love towards someone, but, showing up for them every day and showing up for them for however many years, that part is a choice. Mm-hmm. Like your friends over time, like you begin to like, you love them. It's a platonic love, but you love them. Like when they're in your life, when you know like so much about this person, it's just like you have such an understanding and appreciation. That's love. And then, but yeah, to keep doing that, keep fighting for a relationship, that part is a choice. Mm-hmm. You could easily just, say sayonara at any point, but
it's so easy to do, right? Mm-hmm. The grass is always greener.
Especially when it gets hard. Mm-hmm. Or especially, if you've been with someone for so long, it's like, well, what else is out there? Especially in this day and age.
Where we have so much choice. The choice is never ending. It's not like we live in a village where there's 3 or 4 eligible bachelors or Heidi's husband's pretty hot, so all I'm saying is you open your phone and social media, dating apps, horrible websites like Ashley Madison. You know, have you heard of that website?
Like, I think very briefly.
It's a website that's literally made for people to look for affairs. Like, yeah. Anyway, there are so many ways to find other willing and consenting partners if you wish to do so.
But like, then you're making the choice. Are you going to like stick it out for the long haul with this person that you love and that you already know you're comfortable, you've built this life with? Or do you want to risk it all for something that could go either really great or really sad, you know?
It's your basic like quality versus quantity and what your morals and your values are, right? If you're in a relationship or in a marriage that is respectful, I'm going to say that because a lot of marriages end because there's a lack of respect there. But if it's just curiosity, you know, and if it's just like, this is the thing for me, is if you are in a committed relationship and you're having those thoughts that you might be interested in straying or you're not getting what you need from the relationship, rather than seeking things out on your own, talk to your partner. Mm-hmm. Like, have those conversations. Mm-hmm. Actually sit down with them and be honest and be like, I know this is going to be extremely painful for you to hear and to process, and I want you to take your time with it. This is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I desire. Think about it, come back to me, you know?
Yeah.
Just have honest conversations with your partner rather than doing something that could potentially destroy your relationship.
And also, you know, if it's a matter of you're kind of like losing these things like attraction towards one another, try and get back into things from the beginning of the relationship that, you know, would initiate those things. Like, was it, you know, you remember this like blue dress that like your girlfriend wore that you loved? It's still in the closet, put it on again or get something similar, you know, like trying to like recreate these old moments, like bring that joy and like bring those like first feelings from like the honeymoon phase like back in. And try to like incorporate spontaneity when you can. But like, okay, like today we're free, let's just like go out into the world and do something. Like,
that's the other thing, like relationships don't need to revolve around sex. And I feel like that's a huge thing that our society puts pressure on, is like, if you're not having sex, then, you know, you're not in a good relationship.
Especially right now with hookup culture being such a huge thing. It's intimacy that's huge. And intimacy does not equal sex.
So true. It doesn't even need to equal like being physical with one another. It can be being vulnerable with your partner, you know, sharing your deepest thoughts, having really interesting conversations over a glass of wine or hot tea or whatever it is, like laughing together, you know, like there's so much more.
Or it can even be touch, but just like, you know, holding hands. If you know you've stopped doing that, get back into it, you know?
Or staring into each other's eyes for a long period of time is also an amazing exercise in intimacy building.
Or like genuine like hugs. Like I feel like when you're in these long-term relationships, you're just kind of like, oh, like I'm over that. Don't be, because that's how you like start to like lose the spark. You have to choose to like keep these things going. You have to make the choice to keep up with like the little things.
Here's one thing that, you know, having been in a lot of long-term relationships, like as a woman, is an ick for me. It felt like in every relationship I've had with a man, every time there was physical touch involved, there was an end goal in the man's mind. It was like, if I'm hugging you, if I'm cuddling you, if I come and tell you look nice in this dress and I'm putting my hands on the back of your back or whatever it is, there was always this expectation that that's going to lead to something. I'm telling you, there's nothing sexier if you're a man watching this than there being physical touch with no follow through or like no end goal in mind. That's so sexy. And that's so like, okay, like, because what happens after a while is like every time your partner touches you, the first thing that goes off in your mind is, oh, he wants to have sex. So like if you're not in the mood, you're like, oh, please don't hug me, or like, please don't touch me. And it's like,
and then also makes it feel kind of ingenuine. Like, oh, like, well, do you really mean that? Do you really want to, you know, just like play with my hair or whatever it is? Or like, do you just want something? Like it starts to feel like ingenuine, and then it starts to just kind of like gross you out. Almost like it just, it's just kind of like, I don't want this. Like,
so touch for the sake of touch, like leave it at that. It's so nice. A back rub, playing with your hair, like, you know, stroking your face, back scratches before you go to sleep with no like end goal in mind, that's massive.
Yeah.
Huh.
I feel like we could make this a two-parter.
We could. So, okay.
I'd do that.
Here's another question for you. Is there a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone?
This is the one thing that, you know, I've always been told there's a difference. And part of me knows there is one, but also being still relatively inexperienced with dating, I haven't fully grasped the difference between being in love and loving someone. Well, no. I feel like loving someone, that's where it's the choice. Being in love is kind of more so a part of that, like, honeymoon aspect. Like, where it is more hormonal, you know, like, it's, you know, but I don't fully know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's okay. I'm still learning what love is. What do you think?
It's also a hard one for me to answer. I feel as though...
Sneaky Billy.
She's taking her socks off. My dog wears socks. Yes, it's a thing. I think that's a hard one for me to answer. I think I have... The best way I can think about it is, if I love someone, they're my best friend. If I'm in love with someone, there's a combination of romantic and physical attachment as well as the best friend attachment. Like the difference between a romantic relationship and a platonic relationship. That being said, I've been in romantic relationships where I thought I was in love, or I tried to convince myself that I was in love. And I really just loved that person. And there's this part of me that always wanted, like, I would try so hard to make things work because I didn't want to disappoint the other person. It's almost like I was gaslighting myself into believing that I was in love with that person. But what would always give it away is when I would encounter couples who were actually in love and like watch their interactions and see how they looked at each other. Like, it's this like ineffable connection that they have.
Yeah.
It's an invisible string between two people where they are just drawn to each other. They're like two magnets. And it's unbelievable to witness when you do witness the real thing. My mom and my stepdad have it. They've been together for like close to 20 years. And the way they interact, you can't help but like smile. You can't help but go like, these people just belong together. Like, there's no question about it. It's palpable when you're in the room with them. You're like, that's it. Like, that's what I want, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. No, I would agree. I'd agree with that. Like, yeah, you can definitely see it when people are in love. I guess, like, I just don't fully understand it because I haven't been there.
Yeah, that's the next question. Have you ever been in love?
No. I thought I have, you know. I've been in like 2 long-term relationships, but, you know, one was when I was in high school, and, you know, thought I was in love, then got out of it, realized I wasn't. And my last relationship, thought I was in love, got out of it, realized I wasn't. And then just through that process, I learned that it was infatuation and then comfortability. If you're around someone so much, you know, if you're dating someone, you're gonna get comfortable with them. And I was just comfortable with them, and I guess I did love them as people for, you know, some reason. That was mean. I you know, like that. But, you know, like, obviously there was, like, some love there because I dated them for some reason, you know, but I was never in love with them. Like, I knew with both my partners, like, I was never going to marry them when I was in it. I wasn't in love. And I don't fully know the feeling. I don't know what that's like because I've never been there. I've just been infatuated and comfortable.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in love?
Once. Yeah, if I truly think about it, you know, again, like every relationship I've been in, I've thought I was in love. I think some of it was trauma bonds, honestly. Some of it was infatuation. Some of it was comfortability. Some of it was like me trying to live a life that I thought I wanted and, you know, like, oh, I should probably get married. I'm that age, you know, this person seems like a decent fit, like we have fun together. And then it just happens, you know?
Yeah.
And but I remember after a breakup, my mom once said, like, you really don't seem that bothered. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I never really get that bothered when I break up with someone, even if it's been a long time. She's like, I don't think you've ever been in love then. And it really, like, hit me, and I was like, oh, whoa, like, could be true. But there was one breakup that stuck with me, and frankly, that's still, when I think about it, it still hurts my heart. It was a relationship I was in when I was your age, with a wonderful, wonderful man. He was a musician, and we just, like, it was a whirlwind. And it lasted just about a year, and I have never felt a connection like that since. It felt like a soulmate, like it just, and it didn't work out, and that's really sad. But yeah, that's the one that still, like, lives in my heart, and that I don't think I'll ever be really over.
But I can see it in your face.
Yeah, when I talk about it, you can see it. Yeah.
So you know it's true. But the whole not being bothered by it thing, no.
But it sounds so mean.
But I've been in the same boat. As soon as I'm done my relationships, when I ended my relationships, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. It, like, I wasn't hurt by it. I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I've been waiting for this one, like, low-key.
Well, like, we both, that's how we met, right? Like, we were both going through a breakup at the same time, and that's how we originally connected. And we both had that same experience of, like,
it felt like, oh my God, I feel free. Yeah, I feel free again.
Yeah.
And that's how you know it also just wasn't the right thing. Like, you shouldn't, you know, whoever you're in love with, you should feel like, free within that relationship.
Yeah, so true. It shouldn't feel like you've escaped a prison or something. That sounds really mean, but I think there is something to be said as well for women processing a breakup while they're still in a relationship rather than afterwards. I think men will impulsively break up with a partner as soon as, like, they have that thought. It's like I feel like we should break up. They break up, then they go through the grieving process. Whereas for women, I think for months leading up to the breakup, they know subconsciously that they are going to want to do that, but they just haven't figured it out yet. They're still weighing their options. They're still kind of like,
is this the right thing? Or, like, it just is something else bothering me, and this is, like, the conclusion I'm jumping to. Like, you sit with it for months.
And so I think because you've already gone and processed through all of those emotions, when it does happen, that's partly why it feels like a relief. Yeah. So, do you believe in soulmates?
If you were to ask me, like, a year, 2, 3 years ago, if I did, I would say yes. Now, I don't know. I feel like there's so many people that you're meant to meet in this lifetime, and all of them are meant for you in different ways. Like, yes and no, you know? If I believe... Do I believe that there's, like, one person out there for you? No. Do I believe that there's many and they come in different forms? Yes. I believe there's soulmates and, like, friends. Platonic soulmate. There's also romantic soulmates. I believe there's just so many people you are meant to love in this lifetime. And I remember I used to like read like how many people do I have to date until I'd get married. Like I'd like be Googling this as like a kid, like a preteen. And a lot of the answers were like, you'll have like kind of 3 loves in your lifetime. Like the puppy love, the one where like you learn things and like it hurts. Ultimately, like it's the one that hurts you the most. Like you learn the most from it. And then like your third one, which is like kind of like the third and final, like this is the love of your life. I was like, And now being my age, you know, having been through a few relationships, having learned some things, you know, it doesn't have to be like a 3-person rule. It doesn't have to be a 3-person rule, but like I believe there's many people out there for you and that you're supposed to love and that are supposed to love you in this lifetime. You learn so much from everyone, and you'll learn so much about these people and yourselves through loving all these different humans.
Do you know what? I think that answer was so perfect that like I don't really almost want to add anything to it because I'm in complete agreement with you. I think there's not one person for you out there. I think there's many. I think you will meet them at times in your life when you need to learn a lesson. I think that there are people who will bring out different parts of you that you need to discover or that, you know, will help you connect with each other. And I think every story can be really beautiful. And I'm just excited because like I love love no matter like how many quote unquote failed relationships we talked about. That you can't call them failed relationships, right? No matter how many relationships I've had that didn't go the distance, I'm always like grateful for them, and I'm also like so fine with not being in one right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to meet the next person who's meant to come into my life, and I can't wait to find out who it's going to be, you know?
Me too.
It's so exciting.
Whenever that is. I am single.
So am I.
We are so single.
2 single gals.
If there's any men out there watching, maybe 2 brothers.
Well, if they're a decade apart.
Well, but yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that would be fun to be like sisters for real.
Sisters by marriage. Sisters by law. That could be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, well, like, let us know what you think about this like format that we did today. Where
Let us think.
Let us think.
We need a minute.
Heat wave, you guys. It's
Can't function. That was not a fart.
That was my little dragon, my pet dragon. It's
They exist, guys.
They do.
They exist.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let us know what you think about this like format where we asked each other questions. Like,
Yeah. I think it's fun to switch it up a little bit.
I think so too. I actually really enjoyed it, and I like that it made me think, and you know, like in the moment. So there you go.
There we go.
I hope you're happy in love, and I hope you get to experience love in all its forms. Yeah.
I can't wait to be in love whenever that is. To actually be in love.
I'm excited to see who it'll be.
Me too, but I'm scared.
All right.
I'm so young. Give me time.
Like, I was your age, I'm telling you. It can happen whenever.
Stop, that's terrifying. Anyway.
We'll see you next week.
We love you.
So much.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate your input, so feel free to reach out to us with any feedback, comments, or suggestions for future episodes.
If you would like to support us, please be sure to leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform and subscribe so you never miss us.
See you next week.
Toodles!